Marcus Tate crouched in the dim crawl space beneath a 2-story colonial in Rochester, New York, his flashlight beam cutting through the dust. At 38, he was a master plumber, his calloused hands steady as he tightened a copper fitting on a leaking water line. The air was damp, smelling of earth and mildew, and his knees ached against the gravelly dirt. But Marcus was in his element. His tool belt, loaded with wrenches, pipe cutters, and a well-worn tape measure, clinked softly as he worked, the rhythm of his craft as familiar as a heartbeat. Rochester was a city of 200,000, a mix of historic homes, new condos, and aging apartments. Its pipes and fixtures a maze that Marcus navigated daily. He'd been a plumber for 15 years, starting as an apprentice at 23 after dropping out of college, drawn to the trade's promise of steady work and tangible results. His business, Tate Plumbing, was a one-man operation, with a van packed with tools and a reputation for reliability. He earned $75,000 a year, solid for a single guy with a modest ranch house and a used F-150, though the job's physical toll and unpredictable hours were a constant challenge. Today's call was a rush job, a burst pipe in the Peterson family's basement, flooding their laundry room. Mrs. Peterson, frazzled mom of 3, had greeted him at the door, her voice tight. "It's a mess down there, Marcus. Can you fix it before the kids get home?" "On it," he'd said, his calm a balm to her panic. Marcus prided himself on that, staying cool under pressure, whether it was a gushing pipe or a backed-up sewer. Plumbing wasn't glamorous, but it was essential, and in a world of abstract jobs, Marcus liked the concreteness. Find the problem, fix it, move on. Marcus's day started at 6 a.m., his phone buzzing with calls from clients, homeowners, landlords, small businesses. He'd check his schedule, scribbled in a battered notebook, a clogged drain at 8, a water heater install at 11, the Peterson job at 2. His van, a white Ford with Tate Plumbing stenciled on the side, was his mobile office, stocked with PVC, copper, fittings, and a propane torch. He'd grab coffee at Dino's Diner, the barista, Lena, tossing him a grin. "Saving the world one pipe at a time, Marcus." "Somebody's gotta," he'd reply, pocketing his change. The Peterson job was typical. After shutting off the water main, he'd trace the leak to a corroded joint, the pipe sweating like a fevered patient. He cut out the damaged section, soldered a new piece, and tested the line, the hiss of water confirming his work. Upstairs, he showed Mrs. Peterson the repair, explaining in plain terms. Joint was old, gave out. "It's solid now, but I'd check the rest of the system soon." She sighed, relieved, handing him a $200 check. "You're a lifesaver, Marcus. Want some cookies for the road?" He smiled, accepting a Tupperware of oatmeal raisin. "Appreciate it. Call if you need me." The job took 2 hours, earning him $150 after materials. Plumbing paid well. Median salary for plumbers was $60,000, but experienced ones like Marcus could hit $90,000 with overtime. The trade was growing too, with a 2% job increase projected through 2033, driven by aging infrastructure and new construction. But the work was grueling. Tight spaces, heavy pipes, the occasional sewage nightmare. Marcus's back ached, his hands were scarred, and last year's shoulder strain still nagged him on cold days. Marcus's world was built on connections, each job a thread in Rochester's fabric. His clients were a cross-section of the city, retirees like Mr. Callahan, who'd ramble about the bills while Marcus snaked his drain. Young couples like the Garcias, stressed about their first home's leaky faucet. Business owners like Miss Patel, who ran a laundromat and needed her boilers serviced. He knew their stories, their quirks. Mrs. Garcia's obsession with lavender soap. Mr. Callahan's ancient dog, Rufus, who'd nap by Marcus's toolbox. His regulars trusted him, not just for his skill, but for his honesty. He'd talk clients out of unnecessary repairs, like the time Ms. Patel thought she needed a new water heater when a $50 thermostat swap did the trick. "You're too good, Marcus," she'd said, slipping him a samosa. Most guys would have taken the job. "Nah," he'd replied, wiping his hands. "Good's good enough." He wasn't alone in the trade. His buddy Ray, a plumber with a bigger crew, met him for beers at O'Malley's every Friday. Ray was pushing 50, his knees shot, but he loved the work. "We're the unsung heroes, man," he'd say, clinking his pint. No pipes, no civilization. Ray's son, Jamal, was apprenticing, part of a new wave of plumbers. Trade schools were booming, with 20% more enrollments as kids skipped college for jobs paying $70,000 by 25. Marcus also mentored a kid, Ethan, a 19-year-old from the local VOTEC program. Ethan shadowed him on weekends, learning to thread pipe and diagnose leaks. "This job's hard, but it's real," Marcus told him once, handing him a wrench. "You show up, you fix something, you see the result." Ethan nodded, eager. Beats sitting in an office. Plumbing wasn't all heroics. The hours were erratic. Emergency calls at 2 a.m., weekends lost to burst pipes. Marcus was on call 24/7, his phone a tether he couldn't escape. Last winter, a frozen main line had him out in a blizzard, his fingers numb as he thawed pipes at 3 a.m. The job paid $400, but he'd slept 4 hours that week, his body screaming. Money was decent, but unpredictable. A slow month, like February, when clients delayed non-urgent fixes, meant dipping into savings. His van needed $2,000 in repairs last year, and health insurance ate $500 a month. A must with the job's risks. Slipped discs, chemical burns, the occasional pipe wrench to the shin. The industry was changing too. Smart plumbing systems, like Wi-Fi-enabled water monitors, required new skills. Marcus took online courses to keep up, but at $200 a pop, they stretched his budget. His personal life took the biggest hit. He'd been engaged once to Sarah, a teacher who'd loved his humor, but not his hours. "You're married to the job," she'd said, leaving 5 years ago. Marcus didn't blame her, but the loneliness stung. He dated sparingly, his last fling with a barista fizzling when he canceled dinner for a sewer call. His sister, Carla, a nurse in Buffalo, worried about him. "You need a life, Marcus," she'd say on their monthly calls, not just pipes. His biggest regret was his dad, who'd died when Marcus was 30, a plumber too, his heart giving out at 62. "Fix the world, son," he'd said, teaching Marcus to solder. Marcus wished he'd spent more time with him, not just in the crawl space, but at the dinner table. Now, at 38, he wondered what he was building beyond the next job. Change came in spring, sparked by a big job. The city contracted Marcus to replace the plumbing in a historic library, a 6-month project worth $50,000. It was his biggest gig, requiring coordination with contractors, inspectors, and a tight deadline. The library's pipes were a century old, lead and rust choking the system, and Marcus relished the challenge, ripping out the old, installing modern PEX and copper, preserving the building's soul. The job stretched him. He hired Ethan part-time, teaching him to navigate blueprints and handle permits. He worked 14-hour days, his body aching, but the library's grandeur, the oak shelves, the stained glass, kept him going. One evening, the head librarian, Ms. Rivera, brought him coffee. "You're saving this place, Marcus," she said, gesturing to the stacks. "We'd be underwater without you." Her words hit deep. Plumbing wasn't just fixing leaks. It was preserving lives, homes, history. The library job earned him a feature in the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, a photo of him in his work boots, captioned, "Local plumber restores city gem." Calls flooded in, new clients, a school district needing bids. Marcus raised his rates, his confidence growing. The job also brought Caleb, a carpenter on the project, into his orbit. Over lunch breaks, they bonded over craft and the bills. Caleb's easy laugh, a contrast to Marcus's quiet. "You ever think about teaching this stuff?" Caleb asked once, tossing him a sandwich. "You're good with Ethan. Kids need that." The idea stuck. Marcus had always worked solo, but mentoring Ethan showed him he could give back, not just fix pipes. He contacted the Votech school, offering to teach a weekend class. The pay was $30 an hour, small but meaningful. And the first session, 10 kids learning to sweat pipe, felt like his dad's legacy reborn. Rochester was Marcus's anchor, its people, his extended family. Mrs. Peterson sent him a Christmas card, thanking him for the basement fix. Mr. Callahan invited him to a Bills game, Rufus wagging at the door. Miss Patel hired him for her laundromat's annual maintenance, slipping him extra samosas. The city wasn't perfect. Crime, winters, empty factories. But it was home, and Marcus was its quiet hero. His sister visited, staying a weekend, and saw his new spark. "You're different," Carla said, sipping coffee in his kitchen. "Proud. You're not just working, you're building something." He nodded, thinking of Ethan, the library, the teaching gig, trying to, at least. Even his personal life shifted. Caleb invited him to a barbecue, introducing him to Lena, the Dino's barista, who was there with friends. She teased him about his coffee order. Black, no sugar, boring as hell. And he laughed, the sound lighter than he'd felt in years. They swapped numbers, a maybe, not a must, but enough to make him smile. By fall, Marcus's life was fuller. The library job wrapped, earning him $10,000 in profit, enough to upgrade his van and save for a rainy day. He taught twice a month. His students, teens, career changers, hungry for skills. Ethan passed his apprentice exam, landing a job with Ray's crew, and thanked Marcus with a handshake. "You changed my life, man." The work didn't ease. Leaks, clogs, late-night calls. But Marcus carried it differently. He was a plumber, yes, but also a teacher, a neighbor, a man with roots. He started a website for Tate Plumbing, posting tips on winterizing pipes, his client list growing. He even joined a rec league, bowling with Caleb, his shoulder complaining, but his spirit light. One evening, Marcus sat in his van, the city quiet, the dashboard lit by his phone. Lena had texted, a diner date, Saturday. He thought of his dad, the crawl spaces they'd shared, the lessons beyond pipes. Show up, do good, leave something behind. At 38, Marcus was doing that. One job, one kid, one day at a time. He started the engine, the Peterson cookies still on the seat, and drove home, the road ahead his own.